Welcome dear students, we are on the CEC Gurukul and we are in the series of nanomaterial characterization, and in today's lecture we are going to discuss about the transmission electron microscope. Transmission electron microscope, as the name suggests, that the electron beam passed from the sample, transmitted from the sample, and we can get the image, and that image describe the property of the specimen. So on the screen we are having a diagram, so more clearly we can see this diagram in the next slide. We see here there is the various parts and instrument used in the transmission electron microscopy. Here we see that at the top level there is an electron beam which passed from the anode, then it fall upon a condenser lens, and there is a specimen between the condenser lens and the objective lens, and this specimen is electron transparent and it is very thin, of the size 100 nanometer, and the beam deflected through these condenser lenses and the objective lenses, and it fall on the projector lens. And after projector lens, at the bottom there is a screen where the final image is generated. So image 2D projection of the volume, CCD camera is used, phosphorescent screen is used, conventional photosensitive film also used to get the output. So these are the various parts used in the transmission electron microscopy. What is the principle of working of TEM? In the TEM, we see on the right hand side the position of the sample is changed, as it is at the upper level, it is not at the bottom. At the bottom we are having a projection image, but it is in between the condenser lens and the objective lens. So electron beam passes a wave like character. Electron beam pass from the electron gun, and this electron possesses a wave like character, and the electrons emitted into the vacuum from a heated filament with increasing accelerating potential will have a small wavelength, and such high energy electrons can penetrate distances of several microns into the solid. Here a fast generated electron beam passed from the sample, and from this sample these transmitted electrons generate the image on the projector. So next, if these transmitted electrons could be focused, then image with the better resolution is formed. We can find out the various images of the better resolution or magnification when the electron beam focused on a specimen. Focusing reveals that the electrons also behave as the negative charge particles and are therefore deflected by the electric and magnetic field. We use the focusing lenses, that are the condenser lenses and objective lenses, and these lenses plays a very important role for the deflection of the light. So deflection of the electron beam. So electron beam is deflected through these electric and magnetic field. Now here on the screen we are having that the inside arrangement of the transmission electron microscopy. So first is the electron source. This electron source consist of a cathode and anode, and the cathode is made of the tungsten filament which emit electrons when being heated, and a negative cap confines a electrons into a loosely focused beam. Then this beam is accelerated towards the specimen by the positive anode. Cathode negative, cap, and anode is a positive. So from cathode, the electron beam pass through the anode and it fall upon a specimen. So here we see in the diagram, the next is the electromagnetic lens are used. These are the electromagnetic lens. Electron beam is tightly focused using these electromagnetic lens and metal aperture, which are used to fall the electron beam in a particular direction towards the sample. Now next is the sample holder. It is a platform where the sample is put. So a platform equipped with a mechanical arm for holding the specimen and controlling its position. A specimen holder basically is that type of arrangement so that it can be moved, or it can, so that the light from the electron beam, so that the not light but the electron beam fall upon this specimen in a proper manner. So it is on the rotating plate. After that, there is a imaging system at the bottom. This imaging system contains the objective lens, projector lens, and the phosphorescent screen. And this phosphorescent screen, we can get the image of the sample or the specimen which we are using. It may be of the nanoparticle or the bulk material. How we prepare the sample for the TAM? We cannot use a direct sample in the processing or the characterization. So sample is prepared. So how we prepare the sample for the transmission electron microscopy? So first is a fixation. Fix the chemical products on the substrate. After that, rinsing and staining, that treated with the heavy metal compounds. Then dehydration, where washing with the increasing ethanol concentration, which followed by the final wash in another apolar substance like propylene oxide. After that, this sample is embedded in the resin. The material is gradually infiltrated with the still unpolymerized resin, and the little pieces of the resin infiltrated material are placed in a small holders. Then trimming of these resin blocks and ultra thin sectioning is done. So here we see in the diagram, there is a collection of the grids. This sections with a thickness of about 70 nanometer are cut with the special knives of the cleaved glasses, so that a transparent or a clear cut sample we can get, so the light can transmit it from this. The cutting is done with ultra microtome and with collection of the sections on a grid, that is on the screen. Now working of the TAM, how the TAM work, as again and again we are repeating that electron beam is used, and this electron beam is ejected from the ejected from the filament, and that is the primary electron. The specimen is bombarded by a beam of electron. That beam of electron is the primary electrons. Now this bombarding electron are focused to a bundle onto the object. The area in the object where these electrons encounter atoms with a heavy atomic nucleus, they rebound, and in the region where the material consists of lighter atoms, the electrons are able to pass through. It means electrons uses the lighter atoms, and so that we can transmit the light. The fine pattern of the electrons leaving the object reaches the objective lens, forms the image. From the sample, electron beam pass from the sample and it fall upon a objective lens to form the images, and on the projector lens it is then greatly enlarged by the projector lenses, and on the fluorescent screen we can get the image. Eventually the traveling electrons reach the scintillator plate at the base of the column of the microscope, and this contain the phosphor compound that can be absorb the energy of the striking electrons and convert it into the light flashes. This is the contrast image which is formed on the plate. What type of images we can get? Here we see on the screen there are the various images that we can get from the transmission electron microscopy. The light transmit from the specimen. These are also the images. These are standard TEM, and right hand side we can get the high resolution TEM image. The standard TEM is not so much clear, but on the right hand side we see that the high resolution image we can find from the TEM. This is the isostatic propylene image particle on the screen. This is the TEM micrograph. Now other output from the transmission electron microscopy are the large and here the small nanoparticles. The bulk and the bottom we define the different nanoparticles images. These are the transmission electron. What are the advantages of transmission electron microscopy? Basically, additional analysis techniques like X-ray spectroscopy are possible with the STEM. We can get the high resolution images by using the SEM. We can get the 3D image, but it is very inabundant. It is possible to get the 3D image. Changes in the nanoparticle structure as a result of the interaction with the gas, liquid and solid phase substrate can be monitored by using the TEM. What are the defects? We can find out by using the TEM. So these are the advantages of the TEM. Now what are the disadvantages? A sample must be able to withstand the electron beam. Also the high vacuum chamber are required. A very tedious method to prepare the sample. Sample preparation mostly use 2D images, and it is a very time consuming process, and it is very costly and expensive technique for the characterization of the nanomaterials. What are the differences between the SEM and TEM? These are the basic differences. Electron beam passes through the thin surface of the sample. In the TEM, transmission electron microscopy, electron beam passes through the thin surface of the sample, but here in the SEM, electron beam scans over the surface of the sample. It does not pass from the sample. Number 2, specially prepared thin samples are supported on TEM grids, but here in the sample, in the CEM, sample can be any thickness and is mounted on a aluminum stub. Means we can put it on the any surface. Specimen stage halfway down column, but here specimen stage is a chamber at the bottom of the column. As we seen in the diagram that the sample is on the upper side, but here in the sample is on the bottom. But image shown on the fluorescent screen in case of TEM, but here in case of SEM, image can be formed on the TV monitor. Image in the TEM, image is a two-dimensional projection of the sample. but here in the SAM, image is of the surface of the sample. So these are the differences of SEM and TEM, scanning electron microscope and the transmission electron microscope. Now other differences are also high resolution of the bulk specimen, no need to make the sample thin, but here in the TEM, high resolution of the thin specimen we can get. 22.5 angstrom, most commercial instrument, less than 10 angstrom for the research instruments, but here 1.2 to 1.5 angstrom, most commercial instruments are used here. The 2D appearance of the specimen image as a result of large depth of the field, depth is focused, but here no 3D appearance of the specimen images. Capable of very low magnifications, complementing the information available from the optical images, but here the techniques that provides the crystallography structure, information lattice arrangements, orientation, relationship and the dislocation. TAM and SAM, these are the difference, means we can find out the defects also by using the TEM. So these are the differences between the SEM and TEM. We discuss the advantages, disadvantages of SAM and the TAM. So scanning electron microscope and transmission electron microscope, both techniques are used for the characterization of the nanomaterial. So in the SAM we use the surface scanning, in the TAM we use the transmission, and the both the methods are very important for the research purposes as well as in the industry, because we can get the clear cut image of a sample by applying the by applying the various methods. So SAM basically scanning electron microscope characterize the material, explain the type of material, explain the structure, size as well as the other parameters, and it gives the 2D images, black and white images we can get from here, but the TAM we can get the colored images. And by using the both the method we can use the in both the methods we use the electron beam, we can get the high resolution as well as high modify images, and moreover there are some common characteristics are there that both uses the electron beam, both use the sample holder where we put the sample, but the position of the sample holder changed, as in the SAM it is on the bottom and in the TAM it is on the midway. So these are the characteristics. The another methods is the scanning tunneling microscopy. Scanning tunneling microscopy, how it is different from the transmission electron microscopy. First we discover the scanning electron microscopy. Here we see that the first STM invented in the IBM in 1981, and for this the Nobel Prize has been given in 1986 for a discovery of the STM. And TAM discovered as already discussed in 1931. So after many discoveries the STM is discovered. These are the scientists who discovered the STM, scanning tunneling microscopy. Now what is scanning tunneling microscope? Basic setups of the scanning tunneling microscope, which include the scanning tip. First is a scanning tip, which is very important, and we see on this diagram that a point, and which is also shown in the large inset, that is explaining the tip which is mounted on the sample. Next important part of the STM is the piezoelectric control scanner, which control the movement of this scanning tip. Third is the distance control and the scanning unit, and fourth is the vibrational isolation system, and next is the computer which gives the output of the output of the specimen. So this is the image. This is a clear cut picture of the scanning tunneling microscopy. We see from the left hand side that there is a piezoelectric tube with the electrodes. Both two electrodes are inside this piezoelectric tube, and this tube is attached with the tip. This tip is on the sample, and this sample is given the tunneling voltage. And when the sample put on the tunneling voltage, and you see that from the distance control and the scanning unit is attached with the piezoelectric tube, and which is controlled by the control voltage for the piezo tube. Means through the distance control and the scanning unit and the tunneling current amplifier, the voltage is controlled in this piezoelectric tube. And you see on the right hand side the data processing and display is connected with this, and this tip is on the sample, and this tip scan the sample. So scanning tunneling microscope will scan the surface. So the beam of the electron transmitted through an ultra specimen, and the image formed, that is magnified and detected through the sensor. This image contrast produced through the electron scattered by the atomic nuclei of the sample. Electron beam scattered from the electron nuclei of the sample. Electron beam fall upon the sample. The contrast within the sample enhance the use of stains. So they are the limitation of this method. Most of the time that is a more time consuming for the sample preparation, require experiences than the most other techniques. Sample damaged by the electron beam sometimes, and having with strand high vacuum, the entire specimen fit into a 3 mm diameter cup and be less than 100 micron of the thickness. And these are the some advantages of STM, and these are the applications where the STM I use in the nanotechnology, in the biological sciences, ceramics or pharmaceuticals, as well in the material science and the metallurgy. Thank you very much.